And hi again, Ashland University football fans. David Wilson reporting. It is officially playoff week for the Eagles, and we are prepping for a home game against Minnesota Duluth. The Bulldogs are coming in, and in the way of a preview, it's my pleasure to welcome in my colleague and counterpart, Jeff Papis, the voice of the Bulldogs on KDAL 610 and 103.9. He'll be here in town calling the game on the Bulldogs radio network. Jeff, welcome. It's great to talk with you and get a little bit of background and info on the Bulldogs. But boy, what an exciting time for these two programs.
Certainly is. Thanks so much for having me. But let me just start off by saying that. But yes, it's going to be a fun matchup. We're looking forward to a terrific test from a very good football team, and we know that it's going to be a good one. So we're excited to come play.
All right, I'm the first to admit that I don't understand all the metrics and the statistical profiles that the committee uses to seed the teams. All I know is there's been a lot of talk about whether or not Duluth should have been 4 and Ashland should have been 5. I think it just shakes out. Somebody's got to travel. Some teams will play at home. Has there been a feeling on the Duluth side that maybe they should have had a claim to a home game?
Well, you can make the argument. I mean, it's all about who plays who when, right? We were 10-1, we were undisputed conference champion, and we would have thought that would have gotten us one of the top 4 seeds, and it didn't. So we play on. We've played big games on the road before in this program, and this will be no different in that respect. I think after the first week, it all clears up anyway, right? The teams get a chance to play and they get a chance to prove themselves, and the next thing you're moving on to something else. So, if there is a controversy, it's momentary, and we're just going to have to settle it on the field, see how it works out.
It's so exciting, Jeff, to have a chance to see a team from literally another part of the country. In Division II, most of the conferences and your opponents are fairly close. And of course, we play, a lot of Ohio teams and a lot of Ohio players. But it's kind of a neat change to maybe see players from a different part of the country. In this case, Ohio versus, the Minnesota and Wisconsin type of players. And it just adds a little flavor to what is already a great atmosphere for the playoffs.
I think it is. It's interesting in that Wisconsin has no Division II programs, so a lot of the recruiting that UMD has traditionally done has been from Wisconsin. We've got some great players from Wisconsin, and some on the current roster. Roster. Pardon me, but it's interesting because I think a lot of schools have branched out in the way they recruit. I know UMD is recruiting Las Vegas more heavily than they ever have before, and some of our key players are from out west. So we have a nice mix of players on this team. It used to be the Minnesota, Wisconsin, but it's not anymore. And I think Division II, especially in the portal era, is changing in a way that might not be all that good for the traditionalists, I guess you could say, that would like to see kids from the hometowns playing. But it's a different game now.
Well, Minnesota Duluth has built an outstanding football tradition. You've been a part of it, Jeff, for 15 years. In fact, the first year that you were calling games, they won the national title. That was back in 2010. But a 10-1 record this year on the heels of a 7-4 record last year, 9-2 back in 23 under Kurt Wiese. He's just done a remarkable job of continuing the tradition. Just give our fans kind of a thumbnail of this program and what has made it tick and what, in your opinion, has made it successful over the years.
Well, 7-4 last year, you mentioned 3 of those losses were on the last play of the game. And so we had a group of seniors there that was pretty well devastated by that. And, now they play at each play and it's on their T-shirts, and it certainly seemed to help them. But in the past, UMD, you can go all the way back to the 60s and 70s under Jim Molosky, for whom our stadium is named. UMD's all-time winningest coach has always been ground and pound. And when Kurt Wiese came as the offensive coordinator in 2008, a lot of that changed. Bob Nielsen was the head coach, and it was still a lot of run, but at the same time, the downfield game started to become a little bit more important. And now with Chase Vogler, who's the offensive coordinator of this team and the quarterback and the 2010 national champions. The offense is as multiple as any as I have ever seen. This is a team that has adapted to what's going on in the game. But there are certain things. Stout defense has always been something that we have taken a lot of pride in. Some weeks it works, some weeks it doesn't, but that's D2 football. But at the same time, now you're going to see a team that is all about culture, that is all about not really caring who gets the ball. And very much like you, as you look at the statistics, they like to spread the ball. For them, it's good old-fashioned smash mouth football, but they do it differently than they had in the past.
Well, to look at some specific guys for the Bulldogs,
Sure.
of course, Kyle Walljasper, the quarterback, gets most of the publicity and well-deserved. I can't wait to see him. Jeff, I'm not sure if our players are looking forward to seeing him on the field, but I'm looking forward to seeing him play. Just an All-American candidate, of course, but a senior who is the epitome of a dual threat kind of a quarterback, but he has some power when he can get his momentum going. He can run people over.
Well, if you ever tried to tackle a moving express train, that would be kind of sometimes dealing with Kyle when he's on his game. He's 240 pounds, and that's legit. What it says on the stat sheet with him is legit. 6'1", loves to run the football, but at the same time has become a refined passer. When he came to us, he was not a downfield quarterback. And in our league, you need to be at times. And he has gotten some great targets, certainly, but he has come such a long ways in that part of his game. But you're right, he's a dual threat. And the beating heart of our offense, shall we say. But he, for a quarterback, has surprisingly good speed, especially for someone of his weight. You look at him and say, well, here's like a 5 yards in a cloud of dust kind of guy, but no, he can break it downfield. Smart runner, and he's just done so much for us over the years. He's in our top 10 all time in rushing, so he's done the job for a long time.
Well, one of his targets, Jeff, is Luke Deneke. He's a redshirt freshman, Minnesota kid. All he has done this year is lead Division II in receiving yards from a tight end position. It kind of reminds me of an Ashland guy from a few years ago, Adam Shaheen, who was a terrific tight end who went on to play in the NFL for a while. Kind of fits the profile almost of a slot receiver as well as a tight end, but looks like Deneke can really go get him.
And they do slot him. They play him all over the place. They'll slot him. They'll put him wide. They'll put him at tight end. He can block. And the thing they love the most about him is that he's such a smart player. This is a kid that's 19 years old, right? He's a redshirt freshman, and in the meetings, he's vocal. He will show an absolute mastery of what he has been taught for the week every time. He's got a terrific mind and incredible physical talent. He's very hard for one person to bring down, despite his size. And, it is an advantage for us because we also have Deshaun Ames, who's a legit NFL prospect at wide receiver. Hasn't gotten the ball as much because Kyle's been so good. But when teams have to double your tight end, then that makes it easier for our other downfield receivers to find space and to make plays. So you can't really underestimate what Luke has done for us this year.
Yeah, Ames, a senior, Wisconsin kid, like we were talking about earlier, 23 catches on the year, 238 yards, and first team all-conference guy a year ago. Shifting over to the defensive side, Jeff, I'm looking forward to seeing Mojo Wirtz do his thing. He's a defensive end, and of course AU has some great defensive ends, so I think that'll be kind of a neat battle in the ball game. But Mojo Wirtz out of Batavia, Illinois, a transfer out of North Dakota State, he has been a big factor for you guys, 6.5 sacks.
He is. He's very, very hard to block on the line of scrimmage, very hard to block one-on-one. His story, I think, is more interesting than anything else aside from his nickname, Mojo. But, he came to us from North Dakota State last season through the portal, and in one season became a captain. And you know how hard that is to earn your teammates' trust and to earn their preferment that way to become a captain. He did it in 1 year as a transfer. And Mojo is totally all in. And it's fun to watch him play. He's one of those motor guys. His stats may not be as pronounced as some of the others, but there's a guy that you have to account for on the line of scrimmage, or he's going to mess up your play. And he's just. We wish we'd have had him for 4 years. He wished he'd have been here for 4 years, but he's done a great job for us.
The other guy, and the last guy I'll bring up here, Jeff, Ross Reward, the linebacker, 39 tackles on the year. I know he was really all over the field in your season finale against Minot State, but Reward can really blow up some plays too.
He certainly can. Ross had missed about a month of play late on in the season, and a kid from Superior just across the bridge from Duluth in Wisconsin. But he was everywhere. And Minot runs what they call a flex bone offense. I'm sure you're familiar with that. Very hard to defend. They're the only team in our league that plays it. So everyone getting a look at it is going to look at a totally different defense. But Ross was everywhere. He was on the quarterback, Connor Chrisman, and he had 10 tackles, and he was really good. And he's the kind of guy that when he's playing well, you're going to see him, plugging gaps at the line of scrimmage. You're going to see him making plays, some plays in coverage, but a fine player for us.
What do you like the most about this team, and just in terms of calling the games and the entertainment value from this team? What stands out to you, Jeff, about the Bulldogs that make them a fun team to cover?
On the field or off?
Either one.
Well, I mean, this is a team that is as loose as any that I've been around. Traveling with them and going to meetings on the road and things of that nature. These are kids that have a culture that is really fun to be around. You can pull anybody aside and you can have a conversation, and you can learn what you need to learn, and there's no pretense about it. And I love that about this team. On the field, there's a no quit, and any good team has that, right? But to see it in action, and let's be honest, this team has not had a whole lot of adversity this season. Obviously, the Northern State game was an example of where adversity overcame us rather than the other way around. But they're always in the game, and they're always looking for ways to exploit, looking for ways to move the football, looking for ways to get the job done. And there's been a focus this season around them. It's really been fun to watch.
Well, your Northern loss was by just 3 points. That's how close the Bulldogs came to an undefeated season.
Well, we turned it over 3 times too, twice in scoring position when we were going in, and it's one of those things where if you don't take care of the football, sometimes that'll happen to you. And yeah, it would have been nice to be 11-0, but hey, we're here. That's what matters.
Yeah, same with the Eagles, and the Findlay loss, 3 turnovers, kind of sunk the ship and put them in that position to end up in a co-championship situation. So I know right where you're coming from there. Last thing, Jeff, just kind of curious on my part, what is the travel plan? Obviously, it's a lot of ground to cover. Will the team be flying in, or what is the plan that you've heard?
We'll be flying. Yeah, we'll be flying on Friday, and then we will get our first look at the stadium then that afternoon and practice there. And now, as far as the NCAA goes, I know there's meetings that are held, with the appropriate athletic people night before the game and that sort of thing. That's a whole different twist from the regular season. Right from the time you land, it's a whole different atmosphere. And so we'll bus to the hotel, get our equipment moved there, and then head to the field for practice. Have our regular, meetings that we'll have the night before the game, and get to bed. So that's how it works.
Jeff, I can't thank you enough for sharing a little bit of insight. It's great to talk with you, and we're looking forward to hosting you up in the press box, and I hope you have a great call on Saturday. We're looking forward to the game between the Eagles and the Bulldogs, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you. You too. It's just been super nice of you to reach out. All your people are fantastic, and you make it easy on me. And that's important, and it's the job of your team to not make it easy on me. So we'll see how it works out.
All right, that is Jeff Pappas. He is the voice of the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs. Game is coming up on Saturday at 1 o'clock at Jack Miller Stadium. We'll, of course, have the game locally here on Fox Sports 1340. Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you soon.